All right, this is my 1999 Jeep Wrangler, and I'm going to show you how we went from looking like this to looking like this. All right, I already went ahead and repaired those sections over there. These ones aren't too bad because you can actually reach your hand up in here behind here and like kind of feel, where to cut. And so those are pretty much just flat panels. And if you can see, it is like flat. It is very straight, so those are very easy to make. This section down here is a little more complex. As we get closer, you can see like not only do I have a hole right here, I have a hole under here. And I also have a hole on this side. So literally, if I go inside of the Jeep, I can see the outside. So the hole has come all the way in through the bottom, through the side, and even through the back. So this is essentially like a three-dimensional piece I have to make here. And I'm just gonna do in stages. Like, this isn't hard. Like right here on the very bottom, I had some seam sealer that ran along here. So I literally just pulled it back and I cut it out. Like, here's that piece that I actually cut out. If I can get it back in there. At first I wasn't sure what this piece was, but then I realized it was just like literally seam sealer. So once I tore that piece out of there and cut it off, it kind of made life easier to visualize like what was going on here. And so if you can imagine like the corner of a box, like this is no more than the corner of a box. This looks a little thicker right here. And also right here, this piece is a little thicker. So when I do make that, I might actually have to put a thicker piece of metal in there. I'm not sure, I'm gonna figure it out as I go. All right, so the first cut I'm gonna make is the outside piece. I've drawn a line. I'm gonna cut off that section right there. All right, there we go. You can see there's more of the seam sealer right here. So you can see there's more of that seam sealer right there. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get rid of that. But yeah, once I have it opened up, it doesn't look as intimidating because now I can just cut kind of a section out here to replace this section. And then in here, I can probably cut something like that out and try and get that put back in there. This one is going to be the most complicated one because this is kind of bent. Like this is there's a little bit of a bend to this piece, so Yeah, that will be the most complicated one. Man, you can really tell how the rust. Wow. Even on the inside, like this was completely like supposedly contained. I mean, I imagine this hole started here first, and then the wheel was kicking all the debris and stuff and salt and everything up in there. So I'll make sure to, I'll probably needle scale that and then hit it with some rust preventative or something to try to slow it. It actually feels like good metal up there. So it looks like it's literally just this section that I cut open and down. Sadly, I did needle scale right into the inside of the Jeep, so I will have to repair that at some point. I mean, it's just really small. Yeah, I needle scaled a hole right there because the rust was so bad. So yeah, I'll have to do something about that. So I actually have some POR. I might throw some POR over this. So this would be the, oh goodness, look at that. I just broke that piece right off, so. Yeah, rust is pretty bad right here. So, all right. Just do what I can, I suppose. Here we are, and things have escalated. So as I was doing more digging for rust, like it just kept showing up, obviously. So now I've cut all of this out. I had to cut a piece out right here. I've obviously cut these two pieces. I cut that piece earlier. I had to cut the entire bottom. I had to cut this entire bottom out. This I'm still gonna try and treat, and I'm just gonna deal with that later. I'm not doing that right now. Like, I'll do that next summer. Like, that's on the interior. Like, I think if I get some POR on this, like, it'll at least hold it off until next summer. Like, it's already fall here, so I just want to get done what I can get done, because I do plan on driving this Jeep this winter. So I'm gonna do that piece first. Then I'm gonna do that piece. Then I'm gonna put this lip back on here. And then what am I gonna do? Then I think I'm gonna do this piece. And then I have to go on the inside here. So obviously we have a big gaping hole there, but there's a piece right here. So there's a piece that somehow goes like that, and I'm just gonna figure it out as I go along. And yeah, like I said, I'm just gonna treat stuff like this with like POR right now. I do actually need to put floors. Sadly, front floors. You probably can't see it, but I do need to put front floors in this Jeep, so I'm gonna start to do all that stuff when I put floors in it. So that's where we're at. All right, one other thing I was actually gonna point out, and I think it's very interesting. I mean, some of you might be saying, why the hell are you trying to save this Jeep anyway? Because it looks pretty rusty. I've actually had this since it was 2 years old. I bought it, this is a 1999, and I bought it in 2001. It only had 19,000 miles on it. And now it has 209,000 miles on it. So we've been together a long time, and it feels like a part of the family. So I really do want to try and save it. But something interesting I found is that this white line, this right here, this white line, this is body filler. And I actually found that when I was repairing over here as well. Like, you can kind of see it. This is body filler. And the funny thing is, like I said, I've had this since it was 2 years old. And I have never been in a wreck. So sadly, I think what happened is somewhere right after it was brand new, it must have been hit in this corner. And then, yeah, the whole thing was filled with body filler. And I don't know why, that could be why this side has rusted so bad. Because you can clearly see this side is really bad. Like if I go to the other side of the Jeep, this side is not, it's not bad at all. I mean, yeah, I have a wheel flare on here, but even if I look underneath, I mean, I got a little bit of bubbling right there, but outside of that, this side is in pretty good shape. I mean, I still have the same corner rust here, and I think that's primarily from this wheel, like kicking up salt and stuff, because I do live in Minnesota and they salt the roads heavily, but this side is not nearly as bad. And I think it was due to that body filler. I think that somebody was in a wreck with this vehicle. I think somebody was in a wreck with this Jeep right away when it was brand new, and I don't know if a body shop like filled that with body filler. I'm not sure, but I think that's what held in moisture, and I think that's what caused it to rust. But anyway, we're back to this. So here we are. So yeah, let's see what we can do. So here's the little piece I made for this section. This corner, all I did was score it. I just scored it with the grinder, and then I just bent it over. And I'll put a few tacks on that edge there to give it some more strength. So yeah, as you can see, I am gonna overlap it. I mean, ideally you probably wanna like butt weld it, but I think the rust here in this fender is a little bit compromised, so I'm just gonna overlap it and then put a weld right along that edge there. Up here, I need to just tap that in a little bit. Like you can kind of see there's a little bit of a body shape right there. So as I get to that section, I'm actually just gonna take a hammer and dolly or a hammer and just tap that in. On the outside here, that looks really rusty right there, so I'm hoping, pray to God, that there actually is, if that will focus, I'm hoping that there's enough solid metal, like right there, there's a little shiny spot. I'm really hoping that there's enough solid metal there to weld that to, so if not, I'll just roll with it and put seam sealer on it. So that's my plan right now. So here's where we are right now. Does it look pretty? No. But you know what? A little paint over that and no one will ever know. Yeah, and it actually, as rusty as that was, it actually did take I don't know, a couple tacks or on the outside there. So, all right, let's continue on. I just made this piece. So yeah, looks pretty good. I'm just gonna go ahead and tack that on there. All right, there we go. I got the next piece on. I'm just taking it piece by piece. All right, so here's the progress that I have made. So I got those pieces in there. I have this section. I got this section made. I came out here, got that section made. I did go ahead and make this section yesterday and I didn't videotape it, but it's not very hard. It literally is just a flat plate. I just bent the end of it. I just kind of burned it in where I could. All right, so now I'm gonna move on to treating that ugly mess right there of rust. I already went ahead and cleaned it with the POR, like degreaser, and I used their like etching primer. So I've etched it all. And I'm gonna treat it with the POR. Stuff down here, this did not weld very well, obviously, because that's rusty. I mean, I have a few tacks there. This is very strong. This is not going anywhere. And when I get this outer plate on here, it's gonna strengthen that up as well, so it's not gonna go anywhere. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go in here after I POR it, I'm gonna put seam sealer. Like there's even a big gaping hole right there. You can kind of see my finger like behind it. I was not able to do anything with that, and I'm not even gonna try, so I'm just gonna put seam sealer on it. Seam sealer's waterproof. It'll keep the weather out. All right, I don't know if you're supposed to shake this. I do not know. But there is specific prep that goes along with it, and you wanna try to follow that prep. Like you never want to put POR on like a shiny metal surface or even a good metal surface because it's not designed for that. It's designed for rust. So it'll actually flake right off, so don't even try, like it's not worth it. It works best on stuff like this. And POR is actually really kind of nasty stuff. Like once you get it on your hands, you will never get it off. So try not to get it on your hands. And I found working with it that it's actually very thin. It runs, so keep that in mind as you're using it. Like it's gonna drip all over. Like I did the frame, parts of the frame last year of this Jeep, and I was working above my head and it was dripping all over my face and it was not pleasant. So just keep that in mind. It's very thin and it tends to run and drip. But I suppose that's good because it is very thin and it will run into all the cracks and crevices. Well, earlier when I was saying that I was going to kind of figure all this out as I went along, well, I already fucked up because I saved this piece that I'd cut off from earlier so I could kind of use it as a template. And yeah, I was not considering when I was making these pieces that was a rounded edge. So as you can see, that does not fit on there because I've kind of squared off. So I'm gonna have to go in here and just cut, I don't know, some sort of like kind of rounded edge. I'm not gonna go in and cut out this corner that I've already put in here. Like what I'm gonna do is I'm literally just gonna kind of round it. I think what I'm gonna do is just kind of go in and round it, if I can even draw. Yeah, I'm just gonna go in here and kind of round this. There you go, Van Gogh, eat your heart out. Yeah, I'm gonna give that kind of just a rounded shape. Like I said, I'm not gonna go in and recut all that out because I don't know, I don't think it's gonna matter. I mean, I think, you know, normally it kind of swept down like that, and I think that side to side, no one's gonna walk up to this and be like, that corner's squared off when the other one's more rounded. I mean, no one's gonna say that, so I'm just gonna go ahead and do that. Alright, here's where I'm at right now. I did throw some primer on just real quick. It is supposed to start raining, sadly, here this evening. So I'll have to go back and like grind off all my boogers. I started grinding up there, but oh man, that looks awful. Okay, so this is what I ended up with. If I'm able to hold out with one hand. I did round off that corner a little bit, so, and I can go back with the grinder and actually just make that corner look a little better. Like I even have a little bit of overlap with the piece behind it, so yeah, I'm gonna go back with the grinder and make that corner look better. But yeah, ultimately that is the piece that I've cut out to go right there, so I'm gonna weld that in. All right, I actually did go ahead and I just spritzed some red paint in there just because I'm kind of a freak. And was the primer even dry? No, it was not, but I don't know, who knows? It's on the inside. And I put some red paint on the inside of this panel I'm gonna put on. I primered it and I put some paint on it. Who knows if it'll last. Like I said, I don't think the primer was even dry, but Alright, so that's kind of what it's looking like so far. And you can see that, yeah, that edge, you know, I rounded that edge off. It doesn't look too bad, actually. So, but I do have a lot of like little pinholes. I'll have to go back in with some weld and touch those pinholes up. But yeah, that's where we're at so far. All right, so I got that piece on. I think I'm gonna go ahead and cut this piece out right here. I do have a hole right there, and I can't feel it from the back side, so it's gotta be like inside where the wheel well is, but I might as well just cut a little section out here since I'm doing it anyway. This is the section that I just cut out of here. And the spot that I couldn't get off, that's actually like a spot weld. Yeah, of this entire piece, there was only one spot weld. So, I don't know. I mean, I'm not a body person, but I would think that from the factory, you would have more spot welds than that. But yeah, I thought that was very interesting. So that piece right there, I'm just gonna grind off. And here's another example of the Bondo that I was talking about. Like just cutting this piece off, like look at how much Bondo or like body filler is on this. And I mean, look at that piece. I mean, I think the body filler, like if I even feel where the door is, like this whole piece is just full of body filler. And I have no idea why that would be. And clearly that's way too nice. Like I did not do that. I mean, you can tell from the paint on top of it, like it was either done at a body shop or it was done at the factory. But yeah, this entire piece is filled with body filler. So yeah, unfortunately, I mean, when I get all my patches finished, I mean, I'm not gonna take the time to remove all this body filler. I don't know what's under there, so I'm just gonna literally smooth on some more body filler. But yeah, I'm just shocked. I am shocked at the amount of body filler that's on this. And like I was saying, that's probably why this rusted so bad, because it was literally full of body filler. All right, so I went ahead and I made a paper template, if I have not shown that before. And I actually learned this from Bad Chad. So if you want to see some amazing metal work, go check out Bad Chad. But yep, I made a paper template and I'm gonna cut that out. All right, here's the piece I made. And it actually is not quite fitting. You can tell it's really tight up there and really tight there. So I'm gonna go ahead and just grind those two sections off just so I get a little better fitment. Here's that piece that I had just cut out. Got that welded in with some boogers, with some fine boogers. And then I actually I put a piece right there just to kind of connect the wheel well. And I ran that down there. So yeah, now I'm just gonna go in here and grind some of these boogers off. That's where we're at. Yeah, I was gonna point this out. I have no hole in my shoe. Okay, like I was welding, all of a sudden my foot is on fire. I got a hole in my sock and it burned my foot. But I have no hole in my shoe. Now tell me how that happens. Like, did a spark go in the eyelet? Did a spark go in the eyelet? I mean, come on, man. Yeah, how does that happen? So here's what we're looking at. I do have to go out here and do a little bit of grinding still. I mean, I don't know, that's kind of getting nitpicky at this point because it's in the wheel well, and I'm gonna put these those fender flares back on it anyway, so. And like these, I'm gonna go in and grind a little more, but I am gonna put filler back on this. Like you can see the layer of filler. I'm just shocked at that. Anyway, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and put filler right back on it. So it is all metal again, you know, like before I had holes. So, I mean, you remember that big hole. So yeah, it's all metal again, so. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and put some body filler on there, like I said. And in this section right here, I'm gonna have to put like 1/8 of an inch body filler. There is a lot of fill in that spot. So it is like a mountain I have to make up, but I don't know, I'm gonna do my best. I just am shocked. Again, I'm just shocked at how much filler is in this section. I'm gonna be using some of this Evercoat. And please take whatever I am doing with a grain of salt. I am not a professional body person, so I'm just a person that wants to save their vehicle. So don't roast me too bad in the comments for screwing something up, please. So like I said, I'm just doing my best to save what I can on this Jeep. I'm working under a pine tree, so hopefully I don't get any pine needles falling on me as I'm trying to do this. Like that right there, just came out of the tree. And it's been raining on and off, so I'm hoping also that it doesn't start pouring as I'm doing this. So we didn't get any rain all summer, and then now all of a sudden, when I want to do something, it's raining. That's usually the way it goes. And I can actually start to feel the drops right now, so that's just great. So I'll just do what I can, I guess. All right, I'm gonna call it at that for today. Yeah, with body filler and Bondo, it's so hard. Like, you know, you want to keep going in and working it until it gets perfect, but all you're gonna do is muck it up more. So you have to stop while you're ahead. Like, less working of it, the better. I mean, get it on there, get it looking decent, and then leave it. Because as it dries, it's only gonna start to like chunk off, and that's kind of a nightmare to try and repair. So like I said, I'm not any expert whatsoever, but I can tell you that that already looks a hell of a lot better than it did before with those rusty holes in there. Alright, so here's where I am now. So I went ahead and I sanded it with 80 grit. Then I went down to 120, or actually maybe it was 150. And now I've just gone in and put some like spot filler on there. I mean, this seriously is not like a superb restoration job, but while I'm in here, I should probably try and do a good job. So yeah, so I'll just wait for this to dry, and I'll sand that off. Alright, now I'm going to switch over to some 400. Alright, so here's what it is looking like right now. It looks pretty good. I mean, I have a few little spots that, I don't know. I'm not gonna be very picky about it at this point. It actually looks pretty good to me. Here's one little spot I'm gonna touch up. And that is right there. So I don't know. It almost seems like wet to me. Anyway, I'm gonna go on there and just try to sand that out. Outside of that though, I think it looks pretty good. I can probably put primer on it next. All right, well, I appreciate it if you've hung around long enough to see me finish this repair. Please go ahead and give me a like, and then feel free to subscribe, because I am going to do the floors next, and that's going to be in the next week or so. I'm going to start those. So coming up next is the floors, the front floors on this Jeep.